everything in my life that has not worked out the way that I want always worked out way better than I could have imagined. We're going to talk about that today. Yesterday I talked about trusting the timing of your life, and I think this is just a natural follow-up. I was just thinking about this situation today that I'm going to share with you, and it just really dawned on me, like, even though the message came to me through some fruits, this is something that has showed up in my life time and time. I remember when I just graduated high school and I was going to fulfill the dream of going to college, because everybody had been saying to me for so long, go to college, set up yourself, create a future for yourself and so forth, and get a good job and settle down, and then you can think about other things. And I was like, okay, but my mind was on the top universities in Jamaica, UE and UTech, and they are other. I didn't really know about maritime that much at the time, even though I have a really great friend that went there, but I didn't know about it, and families too, but I didn't know about it fully at the time, but I knew about those two. And I sent my application in, I got accepted, and I felt like I'm on top of the world now. Yes, I got accepted into top colleges, top universities in Jamaica. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to have to go the student loan route, because my parents didn't have the money. So I knew I had to do that. Otherwise, I would have to just go work and send myself to college. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to not go. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go straight in. So I started the student loan applications, and I was at the final step, which is to get the guarantors on board to say that if I'm not able to pay, they're going to cover it for me. I asked everybody who I knew, and everybody who was constantly pushing me to go to college, and everybody backed out, y'all. Everybody backed out. Nobody wanted to be a guarantor for me. One of the persons actually said to me she wanted to be able to be a guarantor for her son when he decided to go to college. And I have been to college 3 times, and that son has still not gone, and I don't think he has any intention of going. And at first I was angry, because I just thought to myself, you guys kept telling me to do this thing, and I'm doing it to make y'all proud. Very wrong reason to do anything, because it was just about them, right? I was doing it to make y'all proud, and nobody wants to help me. And so I was just so angry, and I was frustrated. I didn't know what to do, and I was just thinking, am I gonna have to give up on this dream? In the same time, I was in sixth form at the time at a different school, and in the same time period, one of my teachers from my first high school came to my second high school to my class to give a presentation about a scholarship opportunity. And the opportunity was that, you were going to get a partial scholarship, which tuition fully paid, but you just have to pay for your room and board, and you have to take the SATs, and that is going to combine with your CSEC results and CAPE to see if you qualify to meet the requirements for the scholarship. But we had to pay to take the classes and so forth, and it was a lot of money, because at the time I was in Jamaica, so the conversion was in US dollars, and it was a lot of money. So I didn't have it, my parents didn't have it, and we were like, this sounds like a great opportunity, but I don't know where the money's gonna come from. So I called my mom, I told her about it, and she was just expressing the same concern. So I went to the teacher and I said, hey sir, I'm excited, interested. Well, I was excited, but interested is the word that I'm looking for. I'm interested in the program, but I don't have the funds. But because that teacher was my teacher for like multiple years at my previous high school, we had a bond. So he was like, okay, come to the class and we'll figure out the money later. So I was like, okay, bet. I told my mom, she agreed. I started going to the classes. We went on, did the classes every day and so forth. I did the SATs, got a great score, combined with my CSEC and CAPE, and I qualified for the scholarship. Then I got another shock roadblock. I still needed a guarantor, and I was like, if I needed a guarantor from my Jamaican university, which the money is way less than what this guarantor is asking for, because this is in US dollars, and I couldn't get it for the Jamaican, how am I gonna get it for the US? So I felt defeated. I was like, might as well just give this up and just forget about it. And I wanted to, but there was something in me that just kept pushing. And so I went around and I asked everybody again if they could sponsor me. And I got one sponsor, but it was like a third or less of what I actually needed. So my teacher was telling me we could use multiple sponsors. So I'm like, okay, I can use hers, but I still need other people as well. And I didn't know what to do. The teacher from my class at my second high school that invited the teacher to speak to us about the opportunity, she invited me to become the president of the debate club, because I'm in her management class. She likes how I write, she likes how I speak, and she's like, you'd be a perfect fit for that position. So I went on, I joined the club, I became the president. And while I was in the club, I met a teacher that I wouldn't have met if I didn't join, because she never taught me, and she mostly taught the students that were in like lower school, as we would call it, 7th grade to 11, but not the 6th form, which is like 12 and 13 grades. So I wouldn't have met her otherwise. And when I met her, we developed a rapport, and we went on different championships for the school and so forth. And during the time I was, just casually talking to her, she's asking me like, what are your plans after you graduate? And I was explaining to her, I have this amazing opportunity, but I need a sponsor and I don't have anybody to do it for me. And I still need a sponsor for my student loan at my Jamaican universities. So I'm in between a rock and a hard place here. I don't know what to do. And she asked me, how much money do I need a sponsor for? And I told her, but I wasn't thinking anything of it, because at the time, I couldn't fathom a Jamaican person having that amount of money in their bank account. So I was just like, she's probably just asking me to be curious. But she said to me, I'm going to ask my mom. And I was like, okay. And I completely forgot about it. The next time we went back to meet for the club, she put me aside and she said, my mom said she's going to do it. And I did not know how to react, because I was like, how is this happening? Is this even possible? The mom said she's going to do it, and the mom even paid the bank the fee for the bank statement. So all I had to do was go and collect it. I didn't know how to process the emotion, because I was just anxious and I didn't know if it was going to work out or not, and I really wanted it to work out. So I didn't even know how to process at the time. So I went and I picked it up, I submitted it, everything. I got my I-20, and then everything just kind of went on so quickly. We got to the embassy, did interviews, and within like a couple of days we were out, started school. And that was just how it went from me having to take out student loans to go to school to me getting a fully paid tuition scholarship, and I just had to work to pay my rent. And I was so tripped out about not having any sponsor for my Jamaican university. I didn't fathom myself going to university in the US. I've always heard about the US on the TV, but I never fathomed myself going to school there, because I never knew anybody that went to school there. And so it was just like a foreign experience for me mentally. I wasn't thinking about it. So I was so caught up thinking about how am I going to get a sponsor for my Jamaican university for student loans. And it ended up working out where I got a completely funded tuition that was not even on my agenda. Completely paid for a bank statement from a stranger that I never met a day in my life. And when I got through and I got settled down in university, that's the time when I actually spoke to my teacher's mom and thanked her for what she did for me, because everybody around me were pushing me to do this thing when I actually needed them to aid me in the process. Everybody backed out, and it was this stranger that came in. And I've had so many different experiences where that has happened. If I should talk about all those experiences, we would literally be watching this video for the next 3 years. Like, I kid you not. There are so many things some of them are at the top of my mind and some of them are not. But if I really sat down to think about it, I'm pretty sure I would have so much stories I could share about those experiences. But this experience just really showed me that we just don't even know what's possible for our lives. We don't even see the big picture. We just see our circumstance. We just see our situation. We don't know how it's going to work out. And we don't know who is going to show up to help us to get there. But I have seen so many times in my life, people show up, even though it may be not the people that you expect, but somebody shows up and I am aided to that spot that I need to get to. So even though sometimes it feels challenging and hard to grasp, how is it going to work out? I promise you, I don't have the answer for you. I don't even have the answer for myself many times, but I look back on these stories and I tell you I have many of them. I look back on these stories and I see proof that my vision sometimes is too small for my life because I never fathomed this outcome, but it happened. And you just have to trust the process that things are going to work out. I was actively doing something in this process though. I was really reaching out to people to ask for help. I was asking people and opening my mouth to a complete stranger, and that's how I got the assistance that I needed. And so sometimes, even though we don't know, we just have to talk. And I am a very private person naturally. I don't really share a lot of things just because sometimes you don't know who is who and what people's intentions are in listening to you. But this experience, I opened my mouth. We did have a bond, so I think it's important that we are sharing with you kind of connect with them. So we have been in connection for a while before I spoke about the situation, and clearly she was obviously interested in my future to even ask me that question, so I felt comfortable to open up. So I think those are important factors to consider. I'm not going to tell you to go tell your business to everybody because everybody don't care, right? But things are just always going to work out in a better way. We just cannot see it in the moment because we're so blinded by our current situation. So if you're in one of those spots right now, I just hope this message encourages you to know that even if you don't see how it's going to work out, you just trust that it will. Do the parts that you can to contribute to it, but the rest of it, you just have to leave it in God's hand and He will work it out for you. All right? It's been a while since I talked about this story. It really felt refreshing to think about how that experience really set my life up for the trajectory that is currently on. Yeah, I probably should do more of these. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. For my loyal subscribers, thank you so much for watching my videos and for coming back every single day. I can feel the love. I appreciate it. And please like the video so that it can go to more people, and share this with anybody who just needs that encouragement. The people around you who need it. Share it with those people. Drop a comment below and tell me what time did you experience something that I experienced. You had one vision for your situation and it worked out completely better than you thought. I'd love to know in the comments below. And subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. Please, thank you. I would appreciate you subscribing and joining the Investing You fam. Alright, and you can follow me on all social media platforms at Khrista-Lee. That's Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And I will see you in the next one tomorrow. Let's go make some mistakes. Bye.